Welcome to my channel about physiotechnique, robotics and embedded systems. If you're new to this channel or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe via the thumbnail in the bottom right corner. The focus of this video is once again the Raspberry Pi 1 model B+, to which I have installed the Raspberry Pi camera using a physiotechnique stand, serial cable, HDMI cable to monitor, but it is not really working, and a network cable for virtual network computing. Also a band cable. And in the past I have used Python and C for commanding, controlling the GPIO, general purpose input output, right here, to which this band cable is connected. And I'm now trying to do experiments using C#. And in preparation to that I have installed C# development on the Raspberry Pi. So in order to see if that all will work anyway, let's change to screencast. So in this new experiment I had to try to install the whole mono development environment first. Mono is the complete name for the C# on open source, and you can find a lot on the internet apart from this video, of course, because people have done it before me. I have checked first if I had enough space on the SD card, this little thing here for which I boot, and that was the case. So this is the end of the installation. Now one of the things that is interesting to me, of course, can I program in it? Here there's no clue about mono development. C# development, nowhere. So I have to check if something is really installed, and as far as I can see it's not installed. Mono development isn't there, just mono is there, and mono is being used to execute C# programs, but the development environment is not here. So I have to install that as well. And by the way, a lot of developers assume that you will develop on a different system and then copy the executable to the Raspberry Pi. And to show how that will be done is here. This is installed on my laptop. So I can create a new project in C#, copy the whole project to my Raspberry Pi, and then use this instruction mono to execute it. So the question is, how much more memory will mono develop take? Do I have enough memory to do it? So this should say yes, but this program also takes memory. So that is a big question. What is wise to do? And for development on Linux to Linux, that's no problem, of course. So that's a nice question. Should I do that first? I think so. Okay, now I have a problem because this is the very small program that I had in mind to copy to the Raspberry Pi and execute it, but I am completely unable to do so, to copy it. That means that I do have to install mono develop onto the Raspberry Pi and see if that works out. And guess what happens? Let me remove this one. I want to install Mono Development, and it says it's already the latest version, newest version. Then I start it and it says command not found. Which might, and I'm tapping to autocomplete, which doesn't work out. This does work out, but I don't see any Mono Development application here. And neither do I see it in here, or wherever I may expect to find it. It's not there. And once again, tapping to autocomplete, which doesn't work out. So, whatever's going on here, I'm not sure, but it doesn't work the way I expect it to work. Okay, now I finally managed to get something to work on my laptop, and after a lot of trying I realized that I made a mistake in setting up the program in the first place. As a class instead of a program. A class will never run in itself, a program does. So now I have done Raspberry Pi space test, which it executes using Mono. So when I make this simple too, I say a build, and I should be able to run and get 2 instead, and that it does. First, well, this is the first step. Second step, getting it to run on a Raspberry Pi. And there Mono Develop doesn't want to start, so once again trying to copy it somehow and then getting it to work. And if I can't copy it over my network, I will have to use USB stick. So let's try that. So, kind of acid test. USB inside, or actually connected to the Raspberry Pi. This is the file name. And this works out. This also means that I have to actually develop my code on my laptop, or find some alternative to run on the Raspberry Pi, and then and only then I can test. That will be quite cumbersome, because nothing is easier than test on the system where you write the code, and that is now not the case. So, do I like this situation? Not in the least. But it is what it is for now. I'm glad this works out, and yes, this is a Windows executable, because C# Mono only well, delivers Windows executables, and then you have Mono to run it on a Linux system. I don't like it, but that's the way it is. So, how to go on from here? That's a very good question, because why does Mono Development not start on a Raspberry Pi in the first place? Okay, new findings about Mono Develop. So I'm talking about this particular program. I am by far not the first having the problem. And it seems that it kind of depends not only which Raspberry Pi you have, but also which version of Raspberry Pi OS or Raspbian Linux you have. The kind of versions are a bit off, it seems. Not maintained with the operating system, then also with some libraries. So I think this is unfortunately the way to go. Develop in here and then somehow either by USB or by network copying, which I tried, but it doesn't work quite as expected. Copying it in here and then trying to get it to work, or testing it anyway. Will it work out? Well, mono works, so that's the first step. Next time, trying to actually get the GPIO to work, and maybe something graphical, but because that is what they seem to want to have working in a graphical display. I don't care for a command line interface like this, but a lot of people want to see something like a graphical display, so I might try that as well. And that is the conclusion of this first episode on the combination with Raspberry Pi 1, B+, and C#. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to my channel, give the video a thumbs up and click the bell for getting notifications. You can also follow me via Instagram and Twitter. You can support by donating via PayPal or by becoming a patron, which is already possible from €2. This is going to be continued, obviously. For now, stay safe, take care, bye bye.